This One's Wife, The Return of the Tig. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You'll recall many years ago that This One's Wife ran her blog, The Tig. There, she passed off other people's experiences as her own, wrote about fashion, attendance at restaurants, and cribbed freebies as part of a side hustle alongside her acting. I have roundly ridiculed it by going back and looking at some of the excerpts from the blog, even though she closed it down, in my series The Stig. And if you are relatively new to my channel and you haven't accessed The Stig, well, it's Friday, and you deserve a good old chortle, a good laugh. I'd recommend that you just search for H.G. Tudor, The Stig, and you watch some of those episodes. It comes with a 100% laugh your tits off guarantee, or a 100% laugh your balls off. Do it, you won't regret it. It comes to something when even one of the supine publications, Hello, tends to suggest that you're failing. Yes. We know that ordinarily, Hello is amongst Town and Country, Harper's Bazaar, People, etc., that pumps out the PR puff pieces on behalf of This One's Wife. But even they appear to see that the writing is on the wall. For in an article from Georgia Weir, she states, This One's Wife may have left a very subtle ode to her popular lifestyle blog, The Tig, after uncertainty around a third series of her Netflix show With Love, Meghan. The Duchess of Sussex took to Instagram to share a series of snaps taken during the filming of the second series of her show, With Love, Meghan, which included a sweet picture of her children, Prince Archie 6 and Lilibet 4, see parts pass him earlier this week. It also included a dedicated playlist that featured songs like the Oogum Boogum song by Brenton Wood and Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. However, one of the tracks on This One's Wife's playlist could be an ode to the Duchess's former beloved blog, The Tig. Track 17 was a tune called The Frim Fram Sauce by Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald, which could be a reference to the parent company by the same name that managed This One's Wife's blog from 2014 until 2017, when the blog was archived as she prepared to marry into the royal family. The post comes after This One's Wife's second series of With Love, Meghan struggled to crack Netflix's top 10 list. On the 3rd of September, the streaming giant released its top 10 shows for the week of 25th of August to the 31st of August, which was the week that This One's Wife's second series debuted. However, the programme failed to make the top 10 list, with other shows such as Wednesday and Untamed beating out the Duchess's lifestyle series. The first season of With Love, Meghan clinched the 10th spot on Netflix's global top 10 shows overview list, amassing 2.6 million views and 12.6 million hours watched just a week after its debut in March. The article then goes on about what the Tig was and why she ended it. And this is a slightly peculiar article from Hello, because what it appears to be doing is highlighting the fact that her Netflix show With Love, Meghan has tanked. Not something they ordinarily do, because they're usually supportive of her. Might it be that she's not been paying the Hello invoices? And they appear to be foreshadowing that she's going to return to the Tig. Now, I must confess that their logic, which is she made reference to a particular track, and that was a reference to the parent company that managed her blog, and that means that she's going to return to the blog, is one hell of a stretch. But Hello are not ordinarily in the business of working things out in such a manner. They tend to be telling us about sweet nods and gushing with praise for what she does, because they are a supine publication. Accordingly, for them to be pointing out that With Love, Meghan has tanked, and that she might be returning to the Tig or something similar, either shows that Hello is no longer the loyal beast that it once was, or that this is a bit of seed sowing that's going on by this one's wife and her PR people to suggest and perhaps gauge reaction and response to the possibility of her resurrecting her blog. Might this be the next move that this one's wife will come out with, that she will try and persist with as ever, as she continues on a daily basis for several weeks now of pumping out micro-influencers who have purportedly purchased her products and want to share this with the world, and tying that in with her blog? If that is the case, it's not really a surprise, given that she's failed as a writer, failed as a content creator, failed as a broadcaster, failed as a philanthropist, failed as a bananatarian, failed as a royal, didn't even get started in politics but had aspirations in that regard, failed with regard to having an online shop for clothing, etc. She is an abject failure. She's a complete loser as a consequence of the fact that she's got no talent, she's lazy, and she's unlikable. But naturally, having had a taste of that rarefied atmosphere of being a royal and being famous and having access to wealth, it's like a drug for this particular narcissist, and she wants to continue to imbibe. And therefore, she is desperate to find something that will enable her to stay there. The easy option, of course, would be to bin Harry and find a billionaire, but with decreased looks and age not on her side, and alongside the fact that many people now recognise her as a thoroughly unpleasant narcissist, the opportunities to ensnare somebody have become much reduced. Therefore, she's clamouring around for the next gig, the next side hustle, the next grift, and they're running out of options. Might it just be the case that Hello, with this rather convoluted theory, is actually foreshadowing the fact that that's where she's going to go to next? That the Tig is going to reappear, that she's actually going to create some kind of blog alongside as ever. Has she got the ability to continue to write? Possibly she'd look to hire somebody to do it, if she can afford that. Most blogs only last a couple of years. Mine's lasted 10 years. Indeed, it was the 10-year anniversary on the 31st of August, and it's had over 30 million hits in its lifetime. But with this one's wife, if it is the return of the Tig, that is demonstrative of what a failure she is. That she had the world at her feet by being involved in the royal family. And where is she going to potentially end up? Back where she started. Not even acting this time, not in a professional capacity at least, but pumping out stuff through a blog, trying to leverage her increased infamy. And that's it. A shitty Potemkin lifestyle brand alongside a blog. What a letdown. What a failure. Let's see if what Hello is talking about comes true. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.